right, welcome once again. This is the BKBK podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Phillips, and I'm here with fellow co-host Brian Taylor, Captain Kyle McKenna, and Kerry Idris Elba.
Check the line.
Check the line. He got lined up lovely. Check it out.
Cats.
It's myself, man. It's myself.
Or the facial elbow.
Right.
He said, I'm buying the Andes myself. I'm going to trim it up myself.
Right.
All of that.
A lot of practice.
Yeah, man. You know that. So, listen, everybody. This is, okay, this is the show where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. I know our wonderful fans and audience have not seen a new BKBK podcast in a while, but sometimes there's this thing called life
In a minute.
that gets in the way. Yeah, you know. And we haven't broadcast a new episode since I think a little bit before your birthday, B.
That's right.
So happy belated.
That's right.
Mr. December 19th.
Happy
45.
belated.
Yep, you know that. Yep. And then there was also, I believe, Christmas, right?
That was sandwiched in there.
Yeah. And then there was New Year's.
Sure.
And then I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, like maybe a brand new baby that's less than a week old. I wonder who the dad is. Yeah, there we go.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen of the BKBK landscape, I just want to wish happiness and blessings to the Taylor family,
Thank you.
on this beautiful bundle of joy right here. I'm going to pull it up.
Dude,
Lennox Taylor. Lennox Joseph Taylor.
That's right.
Lennox,
Alrighty.
LJ.
Yes,
LJ.
LJ.
Name him right here. LJ.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
Was
You
this
know
like this?
what?
The LJ?
Let me let it. There you go, B. Yeah.
Was this the LJ?
Yeah,
We
that's
Knick
the-
fans out here.
Except this Lennox has a good back. You know, remember when he was doing that, he had a bad back on
Grandmama
him.
always had a bad back.
Grandmama.
That's right.
But in all seriousness, B, God bless my man.
you.
You know what I'm
Appreciate it.
saying? Definitely.
Congratulations.
And yeah, man, God is good, man. This is awesome. I love it. And congrats to you and your entire family.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm saying?
don't you have a bit of good news as well to share to the fans of the BKBK podcast?
What good news? What are you talking about? What? What?
Aren't you expecting?
So
Expecting
Brian
what?
had a boy, all righty,
Yeah.
on January 28th, so just a few days ago.
Yeah.
And myself, my family, my wife, we are expecting a wonderful girl in a few weeks, actually 3 weeks, at the, I don't want to say the exact date because things change. I mean, who knows? But approximately the 26th of February, we are expecting our third bundle of joy. So we're trying to catch up to B with his 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to have 3 as well. So in less than a month, like 3 weeks away,
Yeah.
we'll be proud new parents once again of a sweet baby girl, man.
You're gonna want to send those diapers to BKBK Podcast.
Yes.
PO Box
Right.
23444.
Yes.
And Similac. Don't leave out the Similac.
Yeah.
Word. Don't leave out the Similac.
Do you know what PO Box I just put out there?
Which one?
Uh-oh.
It was the Riff. Reading is fundamental. Riff Box
Funny.
20334, Washington D.C.
That's funny.
Helping kids grow.
You
Riff.
remember those commercials? That was
That's
funny.
my go-to PO Box.
Totally.
Baby Renaissance out here.
You guys ever have a PO Box?
Never did.
No.
Never.
Not
At
even
least,
in,
at least 50% of the time somebody has a PO Box, it's shady.
yeah, of course. I was just
Yeah.
about to say, make a dumb joke and say, not even in my hustling days. But please, I don't even look like a hustler.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm wearing glasses today. I look like I just read 2 books.
It looks like
Ever.
Looks like you're wearing 2 books actually.
What a jerk this
Wow.
guy is. You know what? I look like an owl now, right?
Peekaboo.
Actually, you know, these guys know me longer than most people do.
Only glasses.
Yeah, I used to just be the glasses kid.
Yeah.
I was wearing the Kanye West label before Kanye West was even around. You know, the Kanye West lenses, I mean, in frames. So Coke bottle all day, like it was
That picture South
the big round
Right.
brass rims.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
that picture Saffarelli put up with you and him in the
I hate that picture so
the
much.
dorm room
But you
with
know
your
what?
glasses on.
I look like
Saffarelli finds him. Where's he getting all of this stuff
Saffarelli's a
from? Is he
jerk.
going to his parents' basement?
And let me tell you something.
Sure.
Saffarelli's crafty because he
Yes.
knows it's not a good
I
picture.
know it's not.
But he puts it out there
Right.
with
It
all
flatters
this,
him.
And
Yes.
it flatters him. He's
Right.
got the football neck
Right.
going, even though he looks wild short.
Right.
Looks like he's like 5'6".
Looks
Funny.
Looks.
You know,
He
Funny.
still is.
you know, and it's a terrible picture. I look like I need to get in the college weight room as well.
Right.
You know, in
Oh,
the
absolutely.
Yeah, but
D1 weightlifting program. You know,
it's like looks like your trunk is on and popping,
exactly.
but the top part needs some effort.
I look like I get my wallet like this. My butt is all high. You know,
You got hips, man. You got hips, man.
Gee whiz.
There's a picture of me and you, Brandon, with Kathy Perman at Jen Iannucci's house.
Wow.
With
Yes.
you have the glasses on
Yes,
too.
yes.
That's a better picture than the one you're referring to.
Yeah, it is. It's a much better
I think
picture.
so.
It's a much
Yeah.
better picture.
I think for perspective, I mean, when you think back then, you was hot, man. Back then, you was good, right?
Man, what
He
you
was?
talking about?
Right?
back
Wasn't
then?
you?
Me?
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You was the man,
I
right?
still am the man. What are you
I'm
talking about?
just making an observation from a perspective basis, right? when you look back on all of our pictures,
Yeah.
you're like, damn, what was I thinking?
Yeah, I do that
Sure.
a
Like,
lot.
why was that part in that position of my head?
Yeah.
There's a lot of mock turtleneck regret.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Brian,
Sure.
Brian was always
I know,
known as
especially between me and Brian. Me and Brian, we rocked the mock turtlenecks a little bit.
yeah.
We definitely
I can remember those. Right.
the mock turtleneck with the varsity jacket.
right.
with
Brian
the
wore
chain
the
on the
mock
outside.
turtlenecks with the jacket with the British Knights sneakers
That's
and
right,
the
that's
flat
right.
top
and the flat top
Yeah.
and the flat
all
top
in one.
looking like play from
Right,
Kid and Play.
right.
I was fashion
He
forward.
checked the boxes.
I was
He
fashion
did.
forward,
Checked the
man.
boxes.
I was
He was.
fashion forward.
And the
Had
ladies
safety
and the
pins.
ladies thought Brian was cute.
Yeah.
The ladies didn't think I was cute. They just thought I was like really funny, and I was like, "Daggone it!"
Well, they admired your hips. They wanted your hips.
I didn't get funny. I didn't get cute until my senior year.
I want his hips.
How did we go off the rails?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's get back. Let's
I
get
don't
back
know.
on topic. On task. Let's go.
All right, Idris is trying to get at the kid.
I'm saying.
Funny.
So listen. So let's listen. This is a big week in sports in general. It's Super Bowl week, but of course, we have to talk about something. It's Kobe Bryant. You know,
Sure.
big week in sports. One of the greatest basketball players that ever walked the face of this planet. And I'm at home, and I get a text, just a random text from, you guys will never guess who it is, from Mike Eel. Mike Eel reaches
Wow.
out to me. Yeah, you know, a Baldwin Bruin legend, and reaches out to me, and he's like, "Man, only 41." And I was like, "What are you talking about, Mike?" And then he proceeds to tell me that Kobe Bryant passed away due to a helicopter accident. He and his daughter, as well as, at that point in time, he didn't know how many other
Right.
people were on the plane. But as we know now, I think it was 9 in total, I believe.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's just tragic. We being Knicks fans, listen, there's no love lost from a basketball standpoint
Sure.
of the Lakers and the Knicks, between the Lakers and the Knicks, and the fact that Kobe was one of the greatest players ever, and we haven't had one of those greatest players ever since we had Patrick Ewing. So, as Knicks fans, guys, how do you feel about this tragic event that happened with Kobe and his daughter and everyone else that was on that helicopter that tragically passed away?
Well, I'll hop in there. I thought it was tough. I was driving home, and my wife was telling me that Kobe passed away, and I'm like, what? Like what? From what? What happened? And finding out it was a tragic accident. And at that point in time, nobody knew anybody else that was on the plane, even his daughter at that point.
Yeah.
So it was a tragedy that we discussed early on, and we were talking about him and his impact on basketball. He wasn't the most beloved player at the time before his passing, but his heart of a champion, how hard of a player he was, how determined he was to be successful, saying, I'm going to be the next Michael Jordan, and going out and almost doing that, right?
Yeah.
Coming as close in this era as anybody has to that. And then to have his daughter be part of that and find out that she was on the helicopter as well was devastating to a lot of folks. In that we are all parents here around this table, and she's 13 years old. We've all taken our kids to their football practices or basketball or their plays or whatever it is, and knowing that that's what he was doing, being a excellent parent, knowing he's got 4 girls, one of which was on that helicopter. It was just devastating for a lot of folks. So the emotional toll is taken on individuals, I think, was there. And then I'll end my commentary with knowing I was listening to Stephen A. kind of talking when he was remembering Kobe, and one of the things that he brought up was how Kobe congratulated him on how successful he was in his industry, but he was like, don't forget that with Oprah, it's not about her show, it's about Harpo, it's about ownership, it's about owning your craft and pushing that forward. And if he's educating those individuals, it's a huge loss, right, for the players that he was around in the NBA, NFL, whoever he touched in any industry, and what he eventually could have been, maybe an owner of an NBA team or NFL team or something like that.
I could see him doing something.
Yeah,
like
I could
that
see him doing something
easily.
like that. So those are the things that kind of struck me with the loss. And again, 41 years old, it can happen to anybody.
Let me jump in there too, because I want to talk a little bit about craft, and it's a good segue, I think, for that. I was in a similar situation. I had just dropped my wife off to go to Germany. Just dropped her off at the airport, and she called me back like 5 minutes after I dropped her off and told me. And I had a very similar reaction that Brandon had. I had just been in Calabasas, Laguna Beach, LA the weekend before. And I know, Kerry, you spent a lot of time out there, Brandon too. Those helicopters are buzzing past all the time. It's almost like another traffic thing. So it's not very odd to take helicopters if you have the means. So whereas it was shocking, it wasn't surprising that could have happened. But to have him pass so quickly and in such a tragic and an instant way, and then to find out, like Brian said, all the other things, a lot of emotions. I didn't really like Kobe Bryant originally. I was going back like 10, 15 years. I remember being happy when Chris Childs punched him in the face.
Wow.
You guys remember that?
I do,
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, there was the fight
That's
where
because
Chris
we're
Childs.
Knicks fans.
Right. Well, that's how you started this out. So I'm going to throw that in there.
Absolutely.
I was pleased when Chris Childs, the P Diddy lookalike, punched Kobe in the face. But my tune changed over maybe the last 6-7 years. I got really into watching that show Detail on ESPN Plus.
Oh yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Where you really see how intelligent of a basketball mind he is. And then his Mamba Mentality book, me and Laszlo bought that last year and read the whole thing together. And if you guys haven't seen that book, I suggest you get it, for your kids, for your athlete, because it tells you how to be a professional. It's like he didn't hold anything back. He gave you the blueprint to be a professional. You need the talent, but the little things that you didn't need talent for, he kind of spelled that all out. And I always thought it was awesome that you could get this major education from Kobe Bryant by spending $40 on a book and $4.95 a month for ESPN Plus. The access to Kobe Bryant and what he would, and he might say that, like Brian said to Stephen A. Smith, but he would also say it to anybody who would watch.
Yeah.
About what it takes to be a true professional, and his craft was just it was so cultivated, and he was on the second chapter of his life, and I'm very sad just for the majority of things, but also what he was about to do for women's basketball. He was about to take women's basketball to places that it had never been before because of his advocacy with the Mamba Academy, and because he had these daughters and he was cultivating it. It's super sad. I don't know about you guys, but my son has been really torn up about it, and there's been a lot of heart-to-heart conversations about that. And
Yeah,
I think
it's
that's
tough,
part
man.
of it too.
I tell you, one of our good friends to the table, who was a huge fan of of Kobe Bryant, and even thought that he looked like him. And we used to tease him about it. Our buddy Craig Smith.
Sure.
And I hit him up. I had to hit him up, and I'm like, "How you holding up?" And he was like, "Not that well." And Craig is just your everyday good dude, sports fan. He likes the Steelers, he likes the Lakers, and thank goodness he likes the Yankees.
Yeah.
But he was a genuine fan, and the guy just absolutely loved Kobe. And I can understand why anybody would love Kobe if you're a Lakers fan or just a basketball fan in general.
Sure.
And I'll tell you what else Kobe just instills. He basically, I'm sure, and I didn't even read his book, but Kyle, you can let me know, and I'm sure it adds something here. But Kobe, to me, basically has an old school approach to life and success. Work hard,
Mm-hmm.
and that is an invaluable principle right here, that in today's information age of everything needs to be just quick and everything, and quick info, quick money, quick this and that, you're really not going to be able to build something of any substance and to hold on to it if you don't understand the value and virtue of working hard. And that's what Kobe has totally done. And it's it's tough, right? Working hard is always tough, but it is a common sense thing to do to be able to have something of any sort of worthiness. So I highly respect the man, and I'm sad to see him go. And praise to him and his family. It's tragic, and I hope that everyone else who was on the helicopter. I'm sorry I don't know all their names and everything, but their lives are just as important as Kobe and his daughter as
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely.
So thank God for God, because he values each and every one of us the same. So just talking about that. So now let's move on. If you guys
Did you guys ever get to see him play?
in
person? No.
No, I didn't get to see him play.
I got
Yeah.
to see 2 of the NBA championship games against the Nets, and I had a really good hookup at the time. My friend's father had courtside seats, so
Yeah.
I was able to see him and Shaq play against the Nets. I was on a Nick timeout at that point. It was dismal.
Sure.
I had to I had to go look for my basketball somewhere else. The Jared Jeffries years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like watching Iverson play or anybody of that level, it's otherworldly. It's
Yeah.
Space Jam. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
What's up, Kerry?
Yeah, real quick. So my experience with Kobe is I really wasn't a fan of Kobe per se. Earlier on in his career, not because I'm a Knicks fan and I hate the Lakers, nothing like that. Just because I didn't like his attitude on the court. I didn't like how his approach towards Michael Jordan, was, because I was really a Michael Jordan fan. I'm a Knicks fan, but I admired what Michael Jordan did on the court.
Sure.
But my opinion of him started to change after Shaq left, when he was able to take that team that won, 2 additional championships on his back. I didn't like the way Shaq departed, but what I did appreciate is how they reconciled, right?
Right.
And his maturation, and Shaq saying, that a large part of it was my fault. I have to, he fell on the sword and said, this was my fault. Now, as far as that day is concerned, I was in the air at the time this all occurred. I was on my way down to Charlotte on business. And, my son, who really never gets concerned about me flying back and forth when I'm, flying for business, left me 3 messages. To me, that's blowing up my phone. For my son to leave me 3
Sure,
text
sure.
messages, that's blowing up
So-
my
Right.
phone.
And you said text messages. It wasn't voicemails.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then when I landed to 78 text messages.
Oh wow.
And one text chain was with a very good friend of mine who works for the Knicks. He was on a text chain with another 2 of our other friends, and the name Kobe kept on coming up, and I just assumed, the worst in terms of he did something that he wasn't supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because he had this past, earlier on in his career, because he was young, of doing things that, he wasn't supposed to do, without going into detail.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But when I had heard that initially Rick Fox was on the plane, his entire family was on the plane,
Wow.
that's irresponsible reporting.
Yeah.
Right? You don't release that information. You don't go public with that information unless you totally have that confirmed. Which is why I ignored most of it, right? Because I had to get confirmation from, my friend who works for the Knicks that wasn't the case. But what really connected me with him, with Kobe, in this process of understanding what he is and what he was and what he tried to be as a father, that's what made my connection.
Yeah.
The fact that he was on the plane with his daughter and she was the last person that she saw before her life was taken.
Yeah.
That was, to me, as a father of a daughter, as a father of a son.
Yeah.
The fact that the irony in that he was in the process of fortifying his relationship with his children, and specifically with his second daughter.
Yeah.
That struck a chord with me. He was taking the entire team to a game to coach.
Yeah.
That struck a chord with me.
Yeah.
And just seeing their interactions over, all the videos of his interactions with his children, that to me is what led me to be in a place that I didn't want to be for the entire week. I felt like I'm just coming out of it, right? Because I can tell you that I took a job, career-wise, that didn't pay financially as much, but allowed me to be present, because that's what I wanted, in my life.
Right.
And to see that his relationship with his daughters and his wife, the fact that he was wanting to be more present and was making and giving the example of being more present and vocal about it, that formed my opinion about, the events of this week. So, God bless him. God bless Gigi. God bless the 7
Absolutely.
that were there on that same mission of being present with their children. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, man.
That's
It
my
makes us
takeaway.
as fathers, we can use this as a reflective moment as well, to kind of refine ourselves and just look and see, like, okay, we strive on being the best men that we can be. How can we get even better? And it just makes you stop and look and assess things, and then say, okay, let's try to do better with this, or try to do better with this, and being better husbands and dads. And it's one of
and
these
that's a
stop
part
and think
of
moments.
from what I'm reading and listening, that's a part of his Mamba mentality, to be the best at whatever you're doing. Is if I'm a father, I'm gonna be the best father that I can be. If I'm a basketball player, then I'm gonna beat you to the gym all the time.
Sure.
Yep.
Right? So that to me is going to be my takeaway. Continue to do what you're doing, and have that Mamba mentality in terms of being a dad.
That's right.
Whatever.
He would work out at 2:00 in the morning a lot, so that he could have that family time in the off season.
Right.
Like, one of the big things in the book is how he would make sure that he got his work in to do that, to be able to do just what you're saying. Social media was absolutely just destroying me. I took a break from Twitter for a couple of days, because all you were getting was just like this poignant picture of the two of them or something like that, and it kind of brought you back into that emotional space every single time.
Right.
And I don't think it was negative per se, but just rough.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a person I work with, basketball coach, that said the same thing. Like, I couldn't go on social media at all.
No, I wasn't on it.
Yeah. It was tough, man. It was tough. So, thank goodness that, we can sit back and reflect and try to improve ourselves, but also, from a solemn perspective, but also, from the brighter side of things, it's Sunday and it's Super Bowl Sunday.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit. You know what I mean?
What you eating today?
Man,
I'm making shrimp and grits.
shrimp and grit. You know what? I don't like grits.
You would like my
Do
grits.
Yeah.
Do you
I
make
like
shrimp? Do you
pause.
make shrimp and grits in an Instapot?
Yeah.
Say again?
Can you do that in an Instapot?
No.
No, you
How-
have to do it.
how-
You have to do it the old school way.
How dare you?
I'm just saying, there's new technology. There's
No.
new
New
technology
technology. Put that away.
Somebody once
Take out your cast iron pot, my man.
Let me tell you something. Somebody
Should I
once
churn the butter?
Somebody once
Yes.
tried to
Yes.
call me out for not liking grits. I almost had to,
Porridge.
rip that. Exactly.
Porridge.
I'm glad you put on a Jamaican accent.
Right.
Cornmeal
Farina,
porridge.
farina, porridge. It's like we don't all have to like grits, man.
With the
I didn't like it.
Okay.
I'll mash up some farina upon you.
Do you, do-
Masha.
you,
Much
you
it
drink
up.
roots? Brandon?
Roots.
Yeah.
Sorrow.
I drink Saarland Irish moss. What do you mean?
Yeah, the best thing about roots is the list of ingredients. Strong man back.
Yeah,
Dang.
man.
Funny.
Manish water.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the Super Bowl.
Yes. So, all right, guys. So listen. So the Super Bowl. Before I get all Jamaican, then we start talking about cricket and Usain Bolt,
Funny.
track star. Yeah, man. Listen, we're going to listen. Super Bowl Sunday. All righty.
We're not involved.
We're
That's
not
Jets
involved.
fans. It's
Yes.
terrible.
So take off
All
that
we can do is
daggone
eat.
that hot jet shirt you got on. I gotta get me one of those. I do like that. Yeah. But nah, keep that on, son.
All we can do is eat and watch the halftime show. That's pretty much what we're going to be doing.
Who's performing at
Shakira,
halftime?
Shakira.
Shakira. I'm
Jennifer
not watching
Lopez.
that. I'm not watching that. then.
Jennifer
Oh,
Lopez?
I'm watching that.
You said
What's wrong with you? You got problems.
I ain't watching that.
It's going to be a lot of
I'm watching
sequins.
Right.
Changing the channel when it comes to those.
I want to see the special guests.
I didn't like Maroon 5 last year either.
Well,
Clicked away from that too.
either way.
Yeah.
Give me Janet Jackson back without Justin Timberlake messing her up.
Funny.
I can go
Bruno Mars.
I
I'll
can
take
go
Bruno.
so many
I'll
different
take
directions.
Bruno.
I'll take Bruno
I'll take
Mars again.
Bruno.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Treasure.
Bruno good. I'll take
Yeah.
Prince.
I'll take Prince too.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Well,
but I'll
yeah,
take him. But
yeah,
come on, man.
Right.
Come
Well,
on,
I'm
we-
just saying. I mean, look,
Dang,
hey,
why you
all
doing
time,
that?
all time, Purple Rain. What?
All right, so let's.
I guess there's a game mixed in there,
I
too.
know,
right?
right?
Well, we do have someone I like very much playing in the game.
Who's that? Talk
I
to
haven't
us.
really shied. I haven't really shied
Turn-
away.
turn
Turn
from-
his mic
wonder-
up. Turn his
I
mic
I
up.
wonder who it is.
Turn his mic
Yeah,
up. I'm right there with you, boy.
the franchise quarterback. I think I sent you guys a little bit of a like blast from the past where somebody had totally ripped the Kansas City moving up and getting Patrick Mahomes.
Call him
pick.
out. Call him out.
C
Who,
minus.
who was
I
it?
forget. I
forgot?
forget who it was.
Oh, okay.
It was like a Bleacher Report or something like that.
Gave him a C
But-
minus for it or
Oh, I
something.
thought he was gonna try and
C
say
minus.
Vegas.
Yep. C minus. And what are we 3 years later?
That's
4 years
it.
later.
Just
Three,
3 years.
three.
Before
3
his
years later.
Right.
before his second contract.
Yeah.
So
That's terrible.
I've been listening to
Yeah.
a lot of folks talk about it. A lot of NFL outfits and stuff, the media folks and whatever, talking about the fact that Patty Mahomes has not had a bad game yet in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Let that absorb into your consciousness.
And I checked it out, and he has not had one bad game. He's had games that
What's
were
the criteria?
not as good as the other.
Yeah, but that, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. What were you
what's
looking
the-
for?
what's-
as
what's
far
the
as
criteria
bar
as a
for
bad
that when you
game?
were looking at it?
All right.
more
well,
interceptions and touchdowns.
That's one.
Turnovers.
And also play that basically, snowballs into, say, losing.
Mm.
And he hasn't been doing that either.
Mm.
Not throwing inopportune interceptions or fumbles,
Mm.
causing turnovers. And then just looking at his stat line. Like, I've never seen a bad stat line. Like, a bad stat line for him is throwing for, like, 250 and 2 touchdowns.
Well,
That's
to
still
me,
a
to
good
me,
game.
To me, that is the epitome of why the individuals that picked him where they picked him, and the fact that he has coaching that has coached him up, because that was not the case in college.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
He was a gunslinger and was throwing the ball all over the field.
Yeah.
But there was somebody that said, you know what? I think we can coach this.
Why do you think I don't like Adam Gase?
Well, anyway, here we
No,
go. It's not. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that.
Because we're not a Jets fan.
Because we're
Am I
not
not saying something that's
we're
true
not in
over here?
disagreement.
Well-
We're not in disagreement with you. So we're not gonna. You know.
should
have
fire
a
him
long
right
conversation.
now.
Oh, here we go.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I got worked up. All right, good. Sorry.
I think that one of the guys that was, if I'm not mistaken, one of the guys that was instrumental in that getting of Pat Mahomes was John Dorsey, who doesn't have a job right now.
Yeah.
And is not my favorite guy in the world either. Like, I didn't really like what he did with the Browns at all. I didn't really like his like style with the Hard Knocks and everything like that.
Well, wasn't Andy Reid in the room at the time?
I think
He had
Andy
to
Reid
be
was
in the room, yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I mean, he had. I don't necessarily think that it was just Dorsey, right? I think.
I mean,
that,
Dorsey's the one that has to package whatever you're going to package to get
yeah,
up to 10.
I would agree with that. But
he's got to coordinate with Andy to say, Andy, can you work with this
right?
kid?
What can you do with him?
Yeah, exactly. Can you mold him? Do you think we can get him to where we need to get him to in order to be where they are right now? Right, AFC Championship game, a play away from the Super Bowl last year, in his first year starting, right, and now in the Super Bowl in year 2,
Right.
second year starting.
And during that time frame, who were his offensive coordinators? Was the first one
Eric Bieniemy both years, last year and this year.
This is
Think
his
so.
third year.
This is his third
This
year.
is his
Pat
third year.
Mahomes' is
But
third year.
who was his first year? Because I know he didn't see the field. But
As
I
far
get-
as
but-
OC,
right.
I just
Wasn't
don't
it-
remember how long Bieniemy's been there. If he's been there 2 years or 3, but
Was
I
it-
think it is Eric Bieniemy.
He's been
All three?
he's been in that position since Doug Peterson went to the Eagles.
Right.
I
But my
believe.
point was, wasn't Doug Peterson there the first year?
No,
No, Doug Peterson has been in Philly 4 years, I
4
believe.
years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Because
he
he was there before the
entire
Super
time.
Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Which begs the question is why he doesn't have a head coaching job right now, Bieniemy. But maybe he interviews poorly, or maybe I can talk about other things too. But at the end of the day, the guy deserves a shot. But I mean, what do you expect to see from the Super Bowl today? What do you expect to see?
I expect to see a win by the Kansas City Chiefs. I expect a high-scoring affair. We talk about the San Francisco 49ers and their defense is good, but the way that they're running the ball, and the Chiefs don't have the greatest defense as far as stopping the run. The way that they're running the ball makes them score quite a bit of points as well. But I just do not think that they can keep up with the offensive intensity of the Kansas City Chiefs with the greatest quarterback that I have ever seen in their first 3 years ever in history, in my opinion, in Patrick Mahomes.
It was 2 years, really.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and that just even goes to show you
They
how
didn't see
great
the
he
field
is.
the first year.
And weren't they down?
Didn't see the field in 3 years, and I'm still considering it 3 years.
They shouldn't even be here right now. They were down 24 to nothing.
Yes.
24 to nothing against Houston, right? Going into the second quarter, and I remember sitting down, and it was my wife and it was relatives sitting down there too. Like, we hate seeing these games, it's lopsided, and I'm like, well, listen, man, the benefit is that it was the beginning of the second quarter, and I didn't think that the game was over. Normally, if it's anybody else is playing, I didn't, you'd be like, what game is over? Turn it off, unless go mow the lawn or something. But at 24 to nothing, I was like, you know what? It's this early second quarter. Let's see how this plays out. And sure
then
enough, oh my God!
But they had all aspects of their game working. It was special teams, because remember that there was that turnover, on the kickoff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Deep.
because everything else went bad to get them there, because they had a turnover
Right. Yeah.
themselves on
Yeah.
special teams in
Yeah.
order to get to that 24-0.
Yeah, everything was working for them, though. It wasn't just the offense. You know what I mean? It was the offense and the defense, because they shut them down after that. The defense shut them down after that.
No, they scored 38 points. Then they scored like 38.
They did.
Was it 38? I mean, but those points were later, after they had come back.
Their
and were
defense
ahead,
did shut
and were
down.
ahead.
Yeah.
Right.
They slowed them down enough
Right.
in order to make the comeback
To me,
happen.
there was like garbage points. Like at that point, it wasn't like they were threatening. At that point, you were just like, okay, well, they scored, so what? They're gonna score 3 more.
Well, that's
times.
because
You
they
know
had
what I
a
mean?
40 burger
Right.
on the board. So that's what
Right.
makes it garbage
You're like-
at that
you're
point,
like,
right?
Oh, man.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. That's my
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
And the funny thing is that Mahomes is going up against another great quarterback
Yeah.
in Deshaun Watson.
Right.
Yes.
Who can put the pressure on anybody.
Yep.
Can put their foot down on the accelerator against anybody,
Mhm.
and he still overcame.
And by
of
the
course,
way,
with the help of the defense and everything, of course, but still, my goodness, this guy's ridiculous.
2 quarterbacks that the Jets could have drafted without moving up in the draft. So, just throw it out there, and
But we have our all-pro safety.
yes, we do.
I don't see Houston getting over the hump anytime soon, though. They kind of like are stuck in that, almost there type of mode.
They're in
I
the-
don't-
Houston?
They're in the AFC with Mahomes. So
Yeah,
Who you mean? Houston?
yes.
yeah.
So
But do you know what they did though?
what?
They ended up giving him he's a GM now.
I know. And the head coach.
The head
O'Brien
coach
is the
is the
GM
GM.
and the head coach.
After that debauchery.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it a debacle.
It's a debacle.
Listen, I mean, he brought them. They won
It's
their
debacle.
first playoff game, and then he brings them to the second one. They get beat by the Kansas City.
But you don't give him a promotion.
That is
You don't tell him to shop for the groceries too.
I wouldn't do it, but it's still, you still got to
Stop
see
and
what
shop.
happens. He's got some good tools. We'll see what happens, and I would take him over Adam Gase. How about that?
Oh Lord.
If you say Adam Gates one more time,
I don't ever want to have to say him again unless I report. Breaking news: Adam Gase has just been fired.
10 wins.
Yeah,
10-10 wins.
Yes, totally.
But we'll get to the draft and free agency in a second.
Yeah,
All
totally.
right.
But yeah.
I mean, so you think so San Francisco has no shot? I mean, is that what
Oh
we're
no,
saying?
I don't.
They have a shot.
I'm not saying, Kyle. I want you to chime in here. But I love both of these teams.
Me
I
too.
love how both of these teams play. I love how San Francisco plays. They're old school, smash mouth.
I
Smash
love how
mouth.
both of them are constructed.
They have a
yes.
right. Their defense, is like,
Defensive line is crazy.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So they're
they don't
linebackers.
blitz.
Yeah.
They don't blitz.
Yep.
They don't blitz.
They don't have
They're the
they-
least blitzing team in the league with the most sacks.
And
Like-
they have an All-Pro cornerback in Richard Sherman.
right.
So it's like
Who's on the other side of his prime?
Sure.
Yes.
They,
And
they're
he's
getting
still
so much
performing.
out of him right now. Yeah,
and recovered from a blown-out Achilles.
Right. But
Okay.
what I like about San Francisco, it's what they represent. It is stick to the game plan, stick to what you think your organization should be, and check all the boxes.
Yeah.
Hire somebody, stick with him, even after he gave up a how many point lead in the Super Bowl?
27? Was it? That wasn't
It's
27.
it's whatever the amount that
well, he didn't give it up.
that
He
the
was the
Patriots-
offensive coordinator. I mean,
Right.
what
Okay, but my point, he stopped running the ball.
Yeah.
He stopped running the ball, which is what he's doing right now. He is running the ball.
well,
Am I right or wrong?
He is. He
right.
is.
But what
I
I'm
mean,
saying is that they stopped in the Super Bowl. They stopped running the ball. They stopped giving it to their bread and butter running back
I mean, it's
to
more
eat up
than
the clock.
It's more
not,
than
it is
just
more than that. But I'm
right?
saying is that he learned
Yeah.
his lesson. He learned a lesson. He learned a very important lesson. Run the ball.
Or did he work with the talent that he has and figure out that, you know what, this is where my bread and butter is going to be the running game based on the fact that I have 3 very good running backs, right? Think about the person that
A
had
running
4
back who was on like
touchdowns.
8 teams.
Right.
One
right,
of them
right,
was the
Reclamation
Jets.
project.
right,
One of them was
Yeah.
the Jets. Mozart, jag on it.
right,
For a hot second.
right. So you think about that. He had 4 touchdowns and like 200 yards, and he's not going to start in the Super Bowl.
No.
Right. So there's some talent there, and there's obviously some talent
An
at the offensive line. Right. Definitely.
Right. But that was built over time. So I'm saying is that
Yeah.
they recognize what is going to win in this league. And
So
Yeah.
you feel like they built the team this way, or you feel like
I
that
feel like they built the team this way. Absolutely. I feel like they built the team this way.
Well, I think Lynch has been there before Kyle Shanahan came here. So
Yeah.
Lynch had been working on this for a while.
Right.
Before
Yeah.
Kyle.
Right.
you got to give Lynch a lot of credit.
gotta give him a
Absolutely.
ton of credit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tons.
Yeah, because a lot of first round draft picks go into that defensive line. It's not just over
Oh,
the last 2 years.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So
Right.
when you look at it that way, I think it's huge. And one thing I will give him credit for is that when Jimmy G threw that interception, he's like, you know what, we're going to swallow the football, and we're just going to run it for the rest of the game.
Right.
Because I'm not going to put it in your hands in order to turn it over.
Like, why
and
would
for
I
us to
do
lose
that?
this game.
Right.
Why?
Right. We are beating them up on the ground.
Exactly. That's why San Fran, I don't trust Jimmy G. And when you look at that, and the pressure that Casey's going to put on them as far as having to score points in bunches quickly, I just don't know how the mistakes aren't going to inevitably happen on the San Francisco side, and that they don't end up turning the ball over and losing the game.
But I don't think that Jimmy G has a history of turning the ball over.
I was just about to say the same thing because
Absolutely not.
I think for the type of offense that
Play
they
action.
run, yes, exactly, and how their team is structured, I look at him as a very good quarterback.
Good.
He's good,
Right.
you know. But at this point, nothing say more than that. And he's a very good game manager for the type of team that
I
they
wouldn't
have.
even put him in that box. I wouldn't even put him in the game manager box.
You
I
give him a
think
tick above that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he can throw you into winning.
Yeah.
Right? Off of play action. He's a play
you
action
feel
quarterback.
confident in it though. I mean, I don't feel confident.
I don't feel confident in 2/3 of these quarterbacks
And
doing that
right.
in this league.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
There's only a handful. But what I'm saying is that with the tools that he has in his toolbox, with the running game that he has and the defense on that side, yeah. Am I saying that they're going to win? No, but I'm not saying that it is a absolute drop dead that Kansas City.
I'll put
is
it to you
spank
this
them.
way.
I don't think so either.
Just to
I'm not
answer
saying that, but
your
yeah.
question. If, let's just say, Houston would have beaten Kansas City and they ended up in the Super Bowl against San Francisco, I would
Killing them.
trust Jimmy G more to be able to win this Super Bowl.
Then Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
So I would trust
With the team that he has with him right now, and backed up by the fact that he's played very, very well when when you put together the entire season. I think he's got like 29 touchdowns and maybe 7 picks. I'm sure I'm wrong, but I know his touchdown to interception ratio is very wide. So he's had a good statistic year.
But he hasn't had to throw the ball.
Houston has a
around.
better defense than KC.
Yes, I know that.
they do,
Yeah,
but not a
Yeah.
better offense overall.
not a better offense at all. That's
Right.
why they're not there.
Right.
I'm just saying that Mahomes put so much pressure on everybody's back because he truly is a great one. A great
Yeah.
one. You know, and when you take that great factor out of the equation, it's a little bit more equitable. And I would look at Jimmy Garoppolo a little bit more favorably if he was going up against another one of these young ones like in Watson or who else is another really good young and up-and-coming quarterback? I don't even want to say Sam Darnold, but
you can't.
I can't.
I mean, we can't
know.
even have this conversation.
But you know what I
with
mean.
him as a part of it.
Well, my thing is too is with Kansas City. If you take Mahomes out of
Lamar
the equation,
Jackson, by the way.
Yes, sir.
if you take Mahomes out of the equation of that offense,
Mhm.
I see that a lot of good quarterbacks can have some success in that system if they put him in there. I just think that he raises the level significantly because he's in there in terms of what he can do. Like you can't just pay attention to him and him running or him making plays out of broken plays. They have track stars on their team that you can't play that team head up. No team in the NFL can play that team head up because of the skill position guys that they have.
And with that team, they were down 24-0, and they were down double digits in the AFC Championship game, and won both games pretty much going away. And if you put another quarterback, you put Sam Darnold. We talk about Sam Darnold. You put Sam Darnold in the position that we're down 24-0, and he has the Kansas City Chiefs offense. You just plug and play.
No.
Or is he winning either one of those games?
And he's going to throw a pick, too.
Exactly. A couple.
Well,
Sorry.
I think that it comes down to the fact that Pat Mahomes is generational talent,
Sure.
Yes.
and Jimmy G is kind of like if Tom Brady is Obi-Wan Kenobi, Jimmy G is like Luke Skywalker. He's not really as good a Jedi, but he is coming from that same training.
I don't like that
module.
analogy at all. Kyle.
If you took it to Star Wars.
Switch them, if you switch the quarterbacks,
Yeah.
if you switch the quarterbacks on this team,
Luke's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
what would you get? What do you think you would get if Jimmy Garoppolo was playing for the Chiefs and Mahomes was playing for 49ers? What would you
49ers
get?
are winning going away.
49ers
think
all
so?
day.
Absolutely.
Plus, they have a running game.
All in on Pat Mahomes.
Plus, they have a running game.
And that defense,
I'm going-
that defense, plus him. I mean,
Even
and-
more so.
And they're playing a different offense altogether. It's spread. It's it's Shanahan.
Right,
So
yeah,
he's gonna.
yeah.
They would have the
right.
potential to be the greatest team of all time in a single year if Mahomes were on the San Francisco 49ers. With that running game, with how he makes receivers better as a quarterback.
Wow.
Plus, they have an all-world tight end
Yes.
who already has,
Kelsey's
with
not-
Kelsey.
Both sides. Both
What
sides.
about Kelsey?
I said who he already has with Kelsey. I said that.
Yeah.
Okay, but now it's. I think it's equitable. Kittle's is great.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is a little bit better than Kansas City's.
Kansas
I'm going to
City,
say.
yes.
I'd say even.
And they're running,
not even
right,
a little bit, but
yeah.
better.
And they can
You
put
know?
the games away with that defensive
Oh
line.
my
'Cause
goodness!
once you get a lead, it's over.
Hey,
Right.
listen,
Then I-
classic New
then I-
Yorker right here. Forget about it.
Then I think
I
that
hate-
San Francisco's winning.
Go ahead, Kyle.
I hate to say it, but I think that this would be an even better game if it was Seattle versus Kansas City, because I think that Russell Wilson versus Pat Mahomes matchup
Very compelling.
would be very. It would be
Changing
more
of
of a
the guard.
heavyweight fight,
Changing
I
of the
think.
guard, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas San Francisco's a team, and getting into what Kerry was alluding to before a little bit, old school team. They're running Mike Shanahan, Denver, Gary Kubiak, Denver stuff. They're just dressing it differently, and they're doing it, out of a lot of different formations. Am I the only one that looks at Kyle Shanahan and he looks like he just came from skateboarding?
Absolutely. No, you're not. I think everybody looks at him like that.
Yeah, like
Well,
he's
I-
got
It's the way he
flat
wears
brim-
it. It's the way he
flat
wears
brim
his hat.
and
Right.
the-
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
totally.
I'm like, this dude just like was skateboarding in the parking lot and then like took his play sheet and now let's
You know
go.
why? Because he wears long sleeve, like long john underwear kind of thing, and then he wears a T-shirt on top of it.
No, he wears
know what
like the shiny starter jacket
Okay,
kind of thing deal too. But yeah, so he
I gotta
is
go dig
he
mine
is
up.
off that Kubiak Shanahan tree,
Sure.
and
It's a good trick to
and-
be a part of too.
yeah, and you know what Casey, what San Francisco is all about, and it goes all the way back to the days of Montana and Young and Walsh. They have a fullback. They have a dude that plays
But
fullback.
he's not just a fullback.
Haven't I
though.
been
Real
saying
fullback.
this?
He's not just a fullback though. That guy can go out there and
He's a Swiss
and
Army
snag
knife.
him.
Yeah.
He can go
Yeah, but they
30,
have-
30
but-
40 yards out and snag one.
But they have the tight end as well. So they
Yes.
have a tight end that stretches the field,
right.
and they have a fullback that brings the wood.
That brings.
Haven't I
Every
been saying
time.
this? I've been wanting to get a fullback on this team, but you know what? It's different offensive.
No, Brandon,
philosophy.
I don't remember
he's
you
a
ever
different
saying
kind
that
of
we
Get
need a
out of
fullback.
here! You gotta be.
I don't remember.
You better
ever
stop
saying
saying
that
that
we need a
right now.
fullback.
You better
I
stop.
don't remember
You
you
better
saying
stop.
ever
Yeah.
that we needed a fullback.
So why are you
Ever.
pursing your lips like that? Cut it
Ever,
out.
ever,
That's
ever.
how Brian's talking
And
like his name
you
is
love
Biff.
and you love Adam Gase. You said that
Yeah.
every time.
Give me Brad
Yeah,
Baxter back in
re-sign
here.
Adam Gase, extend him.
This guy's a
Sure.
different kind of fullback.
Of
though.
course, yeah.
He's,
Yeah, he
he's
is.
not your just run up the middle, follow this guy.
He's not saying that.
He's
You-
not.
You
that.
know what he's saying? He's saying that he's got a fullback, and I think if I can just piggyback off of you a little bit,
Sure.
Kyle, he's not only just a fullback, but he's an excellent fullback.
Mm.
Borderline, like he's got the potential to be a great fullback. He is a Swiss Army knife.
Sure.
Right.
He can line up in the backfield. He can, the H back. He can run out and get passes. He can run the rock. The
But what
dude
I'm
reminds
saying
me of
is-
Brad Baxter.
Right, but what I'm saying is, to your point, you were like, "What I've been calling
Brad Baxter.
for a fullback all of this time. I don't, just to have a fullback on the roster is,
Right,
he's not
yeah.
doing it. It's got to
No.
be. This guy's got to be doing a whole lot to
Understood.
take up a roster spot and be, an integral part of my offense.
I totally agree with you. Get it together, scouting department.
He's doing what Tom Rathman did for Roger Craig.
Wow.
You know,
Tom
like,
Rathman.
He was great.
That
Number
kind
44.
of deal.
Yeah.
He's a Mike Allstott.
Another
yeah,
one.
oh,
You go-
yeah.
you beat me
Another
up
one.
right now. I love
Although
it.
Mike
Another one.
Allstott was more of a ball carrier.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he could. He
And a
was.
resounding blocker.
He
Beast.
couldn't pick it like this.
Had the
guy
biggest
can.
pads too. The
He
pads
does.
were huge.
Heavy neck roll, heavy lacrosse
the pads
pads
are huge.
underneath, heavy
Sure.
lacrosse pads underneath the shoulder pads,
Absolutely.
right, Kyle? I think Kyle might have had that back in the day too, huh?
He loved that.
Spider pads. I
Spider
still have a
pads.
piece
Yeah,
of
yeah.
nerve right now, actually.
Oh gosh.
It's because
Thank
you missed the
goodness I have
spider
the
pad
spider
that one
pads.
game, right? Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right, all right, we're talking about this, but I feel like I didn't get everyone else's perspective on who they think is going to win. We're not going to go with scores now because I want to save that for the end, like score predictions. But with everything that we just spoke about, I do feel that it's just too much offense for the 49ers to kind of keep up with. I do think the 49ers will score points, but I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win. Super Bowl I don't even know what that is.
I got
50
I got San Francisco.
You got San
I
Fran?
want Kansas City. I want Kansas City to win because I mean I just love the storylines. I love Andy Reid getting what he deserves.
Yeah.
I
And
love
Mahomes.
I love Mahomes coming into the league the way that he has, representing it the way that he has. I love the fact that Kansas City hasn't won it in 50 years.
Yeah.
You know, those things lean me to want Kansas City to win, but I see San Francisco beating this team.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Kyle, what do you have?
I have KC all the way, but I think it's going to be a close game.
Yep.
I think, like you said in the opening, chance to be the most exciting game in a long time, Super Bowl wise. Although we have had some pretty good Super Bowls the last few years.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
comparing
that,
it to, as far as excitement, not since the Giants beat the Bills in the Super Bowl back in '91 where Norwood missed the field goal. I think it's going to have that type of excitement, maybe not the same circumstances.
Wow, there's been a lot of games since then.
I know there has been.
Since the Seattle versus the Patriots.
That was that was a great one. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I would say that those two are comparable.
Maybe San Francisco versus Cincinnati, although I think it's going to be a higher scoring affair than that was. That was like a 26-14 game when Boomer Esiason was playing.
Yeah.
The Tim Crumry game when Tim Crumry got his leg broke.
Nose tackle Tim Crumry.
Yeah, that was the worst.
I don't think there's been a game in the recent past that I've liked both teams as much as I like these two teams.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I like both of these teams a lot too.
Me too.
Yeah, as a secondary fan, secondary market.
That's because the Patriots have been in there, and who likes them, right? So Patriots
Nobody.
have been right. So Patriots have been there.
Except the Patriot fans.
Yeah, man. So it's terrible.
But Patriots fans don't like anybody else. So they probably couldn't even say two teams that they like both. You know what I'm saying?
Patriots fans are like the Yankee fans.
They're like, they hate everybody except for the Patriots.
Exactly. Just like Yankee fans. You know what I mean? They're just,
everybody else sucks. It's just the Yankees.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, okay, all
right.
right.
That's what I'm saying. That's how Patriots fans are.
And you know what? It feels good to kind of be like that
have
too. So
one
I
team.
get where they're coming from, even though I want to kick them all down a flight of stairs because I'm a Jets fan.
Well, Kerry doesn't.
Kick him down a flight of stairs.
Kerry doesn't know what that feels
Wow.
like. Sorry.
Yeah, he's a Mets fan.
Sorry.
Check out his face. That's a great.
My bad.
Yeah,
I mean
kick
to
him
bring
down
that
a
up.
flight
man.
of stairs.
That was
Get
a
outta
mood
here,
killer.
kid.
I'm sorry.
All right, so guys,
Yes.
we're gonna move on to something. All right,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually
Let's
excited.
do it. Let's do it.
Kerry's fired
Let's
up.
do it.
We were just talking about this before. I'm fired up about this. All right, so let me read it off.
My mock draft.
Since I'm so fired up. All right, Act 3 for us. Who do we want number one? As far as number one now, our number one free agent acquisition. Who do we want to be that person? And as a result of that number one free agent acquisition, who do we want as the Jets' first pick in the first round? We pick number 11, okay? And I'm sure that whoever we are going to potentially get, if we were to have our wishes come true, would directly affect who we draft, okay?
Sure.
Most probably, but you guys can explain your own scenarios because it doesn't have to be like that. But just for me and my approach, so basically, I love this segment because I want to see and hear what everyone's talking about. And for people who don't know us behind the scenes, we've been doing draft simulation and texting it to one another with like different scenarios and stuff.
A lot.
So a whole lot.
A whole lot.
So
We are football nerds.
yes, we
But
are.
yeah,
So basically,
definitely
this
nerds.
is giving us a chance to illustrate our point of views
Right.
of the free agency approach and the draft approach. So you know what? Kerry was fired up. I'm going to give Kerry first at bat.
Oh
at
yeah.
this.
Oh yeah.
So go
Oh,
free agent
yeah.
first
Yeah.
and then go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So free agency,
Yes.
for me, has to be offensive line first. That has to be where we're going first. We have a number of offensive linemen that are available. My number one would be Brandon Scherf, offensive guard of the Skins, who is 28 years of age, nasty.
Sure.
Could be the anchor of our offensive line, whether it be at right guard or at left guard.
Pro Bowl.
Preferably at the left guard, and then draft a offensive tackle
What about
in
Compton?
the second round. Conklin, I like.
No.
Compton.
Compton.
No, it's Alex Lewis.
Oh, sorry. Alex
Yeah.
Lewis. That was
Well,
the left
then,
guard.
then,
So would you
then
move
I would
him
say
over,
then I
or-
would say move Lewis to the right guard position and
Okay.
let Scherf play
Where he's
left
comfortable.
guard. and then again, draft an offensive tackle in the second round. If that's the case, then I want CD Lamb as our wide receiver.
Pourquoi?
First round.
Lamb chop.
And I would say get Devin Funches in.
Wait. I thought it was just
Devin Funches.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
Well,
The
we
first
talking
time
about free
hearing of
agency,
this.
right?
all right.
I thought it was number one free agent.
Well,
and then number one.
Right,
Yes.
but
pick.
the reason that I'm saying let's get Devin Funches in here
Okay.
at wide receiver is to complement CD Lamb, right?
Okay.
With the rest of the offensive weapons that we have, that would be Le'Veon if we keep Le'Veon, right? And
You'd rather
And that
would you
means
rather
bye-bye
have
Robbie.
Devin Funches carry than Robbie Anderson?
yes.
Ooh.
Why?
Yeah. Why?
So,
Love
let's say that they're coming in at the same number.
Then I'd rather have Devin Funches.
Really?
You're in the hot seat. You got to explain why.
Yeah. I don't get that either.
I like his. Well, I like Robbie Anderson, but
Okay.
I'm tired of his antics. I'm tired of his antics. I think that when he gets paid, he's not going to be the same player in terms of ability, yes, but in terms of him falling in line with what we want to do. I think he's.
That's an interesting take.
I think he's significantly.
Really, what Kyle meant was that was a terrible take, but go ahead.
Well, you know.
No, I don't think it's a
Take that he
terrible
thoroughly
take.
disagrees with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But
It's
being
just
nice.
it's just the first that I've heard of that as a reason not to sign him. That he's gonna get big headed or like once he gets the
I don't think he's gonna
contract,
care as much.
he's gonna Muhammad Wilkerson it basically.
is what
is
you're
what you're
kind of
saying.
saying.
Well, I don't think Muhammad Wilkerson was based on effort. I think he was
Oh yeah.
trying. I think
Sure it
Muhammad
was.
Wilkerson.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah.
I don't
I'm
think
gonna
so.
miss
Stop trying.
practices. Yeah, I'm gonna miss practices. I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna, he became a problem once he got that contract in
He also
place.
broke his ankle too. What kind
Maybe
of
I don't recall it as that because I wasn't really a big.
He's out of the league.
Yeah, well, obviously.
And
was
he
with
got that
Seattle.
contract
Went
3
to-
years
went to
ago.
Seattle, right? He got traded to
God,
Seattle.
was that 3 years ago?
Green Bay.
Green
Yeah.
Bay. I'm sorry, Green Bay.
That was 3 years ago. He got that contract, Kyle. It seemed like
Yeah.
more than that.
It's been around
Yeah,
for a while.
Yeah, I don't even think he played 2 years in Green Bay, and he didn't play last year at all.
But to get to my Robbie point, I don't trust him. I just don't trust him as a player. I don't trust him. I don't trust his I don't trust him as a Jet. I don't think
Wow.
I don't think he's vested for the purposes that we need him to be vested for.
I think that the way that Brandon would put this is that he doesn't trust his mental. He doesn't like his mental,
His mental.
just like
mental.
Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
I don't
Yeah.
like his mental.
And I,
Yeah, I
No,
know I said
and
that
I don't
before.
think I don't disagree with you really, Kerry. I just think that it's kind of a new take. It's a hot take, I think. As far as like not signing him because you think he's going to be an a-hole afterwards, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. But Devin Funches doesn't excite me at all. I
Not
mean,
at all.
Devin Funches is like, okay,
He's like a broke Keyshawn Johnson, Devin Funches.
I mean, like,
I wouldn't say
would
that.
you?
Broke
I
down.
mean, would you acquire Devin Funches in fantasy?
No.
I'm not a fantasy guy, so I can't
He
I
can't-
can't, I can't
yeah.
speak on that. I can't
He
speak on
can't
that.
sit
Well,
on
there
the
you
end
go.
of my bench, bro. I mean, he's on
You
the
don't
wire.
even start. Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't
he's
start
on the
Devin
wire
Funches
all day.
You wait for a bye week
All
when
day.
you have to.
I'd rather wait for a new one to come back from injury than to say Devin Funches is the guy I'm going to go forward with and give him $10-12 million to sign.
Well, I'm not giving him that. What
Well,
I'm
I
saying
mean,
is that
well, that's what Robbie-
That's what you're gonna have to give Robbie.
Right.
Yeah.
Robbie's looking at 14 though.
Robbie's. This is what I'm
he's
saying.
never
That-
getting 14 if I'm GM.
Well,
Me too.
again,
Me too.
what I'm
Never.
hearing, and this is the thing to Brandon's point is that I'm hearing that he is asking for 14.
Well, his comment was equal money. So if
If it's equal money being 10, to me, equal money being 10. And right now for a number 2 wide receiver, because I don't think that Anderson is a 1.
no,
I agree
Right.
as well.
So my
course.
point is that we're signing a 2
okay.
Yes.
with CD Lamb being our 1.
I'd rather take a chance with a draft pick and spend $14 million on a corner.
Then to spend it on Funches.
But so
Or
my
on-
point is
or
that
on Robbie
so my
Anderson.
point is that if you spend your money on CD,
I agree.
if you draft CD Lamb, then who else you getting? Because you got to get somebody else.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I would sign Robbie for a reasonable amount. If he's 14, he's out the door.
What's reasonable?
So that's
What-
my point.
what's
But that's
reasonable
my
to you,
point.
B?
He's not
I'm
signing here for less than 14.
I'm tapping out at 12.
He's not signing here for less than 14.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm tapping out at 12.
That's why I go get Devin Funches. Who I want is Amari Cooper. But we're not spending $20 million on a receiver right now.
Nah.
Because we can't.
Nah, we got to fortify and solidify that
That's
O
what he's going
line.
for, $20 million.
He's going to get $20 million in the market.
Oh, bye. Bye, Felicia.
So my point is, again, back to my point. I go out and get Devin
Oh, yeah.
Funches. I draft CD Lamb.
I'm sorry. We stepped all over your thing because of Funches. So we lost.
I understand that.
concentration. Go
I
ahead,
understand
go
that.
ahead,
But
go
again,
ahead.
I'm looking at it from the perspective of
Yeah.
this guy, our guy,
Mhm.
is going to be asking for in excess of $14 million a year.
Mhm.
I'm not committed to I'm not committing that kind of resources to him
Mhm.
because I don't believe he's all in
Mhm.
the way that I need him to be.
Okay.
So in that scenario, then I go out and get Funches, who's a professional, right? I sign I draft CD Lamb, right? I don't know what I do with who you just mentioned, who's hurt,
Oh, Anunwa?
Anunwa.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
You rehab.
Right.
I mean, you know.
That's
Yeah,
a dice roll. I mean, I'm
right.
kind of giving up on him already, to be honest with you.
But again, who I go after is Sheriff and switch Lewis to the right side and then
Gotcha.
draft a offensive tackle in the second round.
Second round.
I got a
Gotcha.
number of those guys, but you know.
Got you. All right, who wants next? Because I'm
But
ready.
we didn't
to
even
rock.
talk about Trent Williams. We didn't talk
We
about
didn't
him.
even talk
but
about him.
we ain't gonna do that. We ain't
But
gonna
you
do
know
that.
what?
It's another for another day.
If you don't mind, I would love to go next.
Sure.
You know, just to piggyback off the whole O lineman thing. This is who I want. All righty? I want my top premier free agent acquisition to be Jack Conklin. Jack Conklin is the right tackle for the Tennessee Titans. All righty? He is only 25 years old. When 2020 comes around, he will be 26 years old. That means he's got a whole lot of football left in him, and not just left in him, a whole lot of football to even get better. All righty? And I'm not saying get better that he is not a really good player, because as a rookie, he was an all-pro. In 2018, his play slipped a little bit, but then the past 3 out of 4 years, okay, Jack Conklin has not allowed more than 3 sacks each season. You know, well, not each season, but the 3 out of the past 4 years, okay? So that is a great law of averages there. And secondly, he helped pave the way for the leading rusher of 2019, that being Derrick Henry, who basically won the rushing title, okay? And also Tannehill, who wins comeback player of the year, okay? You cannot be a good quarterback without a good O-line, and Jack Conklin out of Michigan State, okay, was an integral part of that, all righty? We get him. He's young. He can grow with our young quarterback as well, okay? And they can form a symmetry, I'm hoping, and he can be the cornerstone of our line, okay? And I don't need to put him at the left. Put him at the right. That's fine. Be placed where you have the most success, all righty? We re-sign our left tackle, Beecham. We re-sign him a 3-year with the a 2-year with the 3rd-year option. Okay, so that we're not like married to him. He knows his position, and then when we go in the draft, okay, so now we have our right tackle and our left tackle there. We have Alex Lewis, who I happen to really like a lot, former Ravens offensive line, who graded out via the Pro Football Focus as really high as far as interior guard play. Now, when we go into the draft, now we get our weapon. We get our weapon for our quarterback, our franchise quarterback. And it's a dice roll for me. Either CD Lamb or Jerry Jeudy. That's who I want with that 11th pick. If one is not there, I will gladly take the other. You know, I'm not going to, fight about this as far as like those two versus each other. One is a masterful route runner and creates separation just from the way that he's like, running his routes. And then the other one is just flat out explosive. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take either one. They all can run. They all can catch. They all are smart football players, and they both are weapons for our franchise quarterback, who will now have a sense of stability with a former All-Pro young offensive tackle. And then in the second round, we can get our center or like another guard, like an interior lineman, and they should be, plentiful in the second, third, and fourth rounds. And we have 2 third-round picks as well. That's who I want, and that's why I want it, and that's how it should be done.
What's up, Kyle? You going next? Or you want me
Okay.
to go?
Hold up. Why don't
Cleveland.
y'all, you're not going to critique my thing?
It's
Or,
whack.
get out of here, Swag. It's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
I don't disagree with you.
That's
I don't
why nobody can
disagree with
criticize.
I like your thought process. I like your thought process with the free agent because I think your thought process makes it so that we can draft a weapon with that first pick. I don't like pick 11 at all. The way that we've mocked it, if we don't have those 3 offensive tackles that would be worthy of that pick, or Lamb and Judy, I want out of that pick.
I agree.
I want to move back
I
at
agree.
least 4 spots.
100% agree.
And pick up, because I don't want to reach
Sure.
on
Sure.
on linemen there. I mean, I've mocked it where I've gotten Wirfs consistently in one simulation. The 2 simulations we've been doing have very different algorithms.
Yes.
So like I'll have the opportunity to, but I'll have the opportunity to get one of those guys I covet pretty much consistently. But when I don't, and that's, you guys like kind of like gave me like the gas face on the draft that I did where Kason was the edge pick on that, and you kind of like especially me, who has been talking about not drafting a D lineman for years. But the reality of it is that as much as I like Brandon's idea of getting a top right tackle in free agency, and I co-sign on it, it may be worth the money to get an edge in free agency, and I don't know if I want to go as high priced as
top-notch edge or just
as a
an edge?
Clowney. No, somebody
Like who?
who's going to be a 10 sack guy.
Okay.
And that might be
How about Matt Judon?
Yeah, Judon is a guy that I'm looking at there.
Put him with C.J. Mosley. You got
Bud
that
Dupree.
Baltimore. Yeah.
Beasley.
Did you say Fowler?
Fowler's up there.
He's gonna cost you some money though. He's gonna cost you.
Yeah.
That's my
Did
problem.
All edges.
Don't you feel like we're
All
going to
edges.
overpay for all of these folks
All-
that
all
you
of
guys
these
have just
edges we're
mentioned?
gonna
All
over-
edges are overpriced.
Everybody that you guys are mentioning, I feel like we're going
I
to
think
overpay for
we're
all
the
of
Jets.
them.
We have to overpay for anybody to come here.
Free agency
I don't think-
is about overpaying.
Yeah.
Well,
You're bidding with
Right.
other people.
Yeah.
You're gonna
That's
You're gonna
part of
pay
it.
top dollar.
I heard that Conklin would cost about $16 million. I don't think it's paying a lot, but I don't think as far as what we need to do and for the market of left and right tackles, I don't think that's overpaying.
but I think with offensive linemen, the amount of
For a
money
right tackle, I think it's expensive.
It is.
It is.
But
And I'll pay
again, with the edge people coming from both sides, I mean, right tackle is just as important as left tackle nowadays, right? So, so I think that's important as well. But what I would say is that, and I could be totally wrong, but I think that the amount of money that you spend on offensive linemen are pretty consistent based from year to year, right? There's a drop off at some point in their career, but it could happen in the mid 30s, based
Right.
on age. I think that when you're talking about these edge people that haven't broken through the ceiling, we're not talking about Lawrence Taylor that we're paying here, right? We're talking about folks that have been average, that the reason why they're becoming free agents at this point, and if they don't get the franchise tag, that means their team doesn't really believe in them because they're one of the top 5 positions that you'd want to keep on your team, right? Vital. And that's that edge player. So if they're not somebody that you're going to franchise tag, then they've been average. Think like a Jordan Jenkins, right? Or on our own team, right? So do you pay him top dollar for production that's okay, but that's not production that's game changing?
You're bidding against yourself with Jordan Jenkins. I don't think that his outside of the room value is as high as it.
And that's
probably
exactly
is
what I
with his
mean,
scheme.
Kyle. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I mean. So if you're talking about paying some of these second or third tier linemen just because they threw up a 10 or 9.5 and you think that they have potential, I'd rather not spend that money there. I'd rather put it towards offensive line, where you feel like that offensive lineman is probably going to play about the same as how they played last year in general, based on age and all of that. I just think it's more consistent money. It's safer, right? It's a blue chip versus trying to throw some, you're gambling a little bit more, to me, on some of these second or third tier pass rushers.
Yeah, I don't think that you necessarily go the route of a center in free agency. Center comes from the draft. Guards, I like Sheriff. Maybe even like Richie Incognito played really well.
Yeah.
I don't want
the
him on
last
my
2
ball club,
years.
but he is a very good player. I don't want him on my ball
Yeah.
club.
Head case,
Well,
but very good.
Yeah. He's dealing with things. He's in therapy. He's working on it. But I think that the Conklin idea is a good idea. It is a little expensive for a right tackle. Maybe if you don't want to re-sign Kelvin Beachum, you go like Anthony Costanzo or somebody like that.
I think
he's a little old on the
Yeah, he's long in the tooth.
on the other side of 30.
and he's contemplating retirement,
Right.
so
I don't like
I
that.
can't
I
trust
can't-
that.
No.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I knew you were gonna say that.
You know?
I don't know how much Jason Peters costs.
He's too old.
Yeah.
Conklin is the guy. Either Conklin or Williams out of Washington. But then that requires a trade, and I don't want to lose any
Draft
picks.
capital.
assets.
Yeah, I don't want to lose any picks. So
That's why I like Brandon Scherf.
yeah.
I like
Put
what
two
I like
guards
what
together and
Yeah.
then get a second round offensive tackle.
And you know what, Kerry? Scherf would have been my number 2. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
there's so much value in the tackle position, and plus, we just don't have good ones. So but no. But go ahead, Kyle.
I like Daniel Jeremiah's strategy of every draft you pick an offensive lineman in one of the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So you always have a high quality guy, because I really think that
like that too.
that 11 pick, and I'm going back to what I was originally saying, if you don't have the guy that you want there, you really want to get out of that pick and trade to somebody who's like Justin Herbert hungry, or like one of those other quarterbacks, because we're not in the quarterback market. I think that maybe we pick somebody, and take a flyer on somebody as a potential backup, because that was a problem for us this year. But we should be actively looking to get out of that pick, and then I feel a lot better about picking a corner.
Kyle, sorry to step on you, but did
Yeah.
you ever say who you wanted your free agent acquisition to be, your number 1 free agent acquisition? Because that will help you kind of be more deliberate as far as, and that's what I'm trying to get everyone to do in this segment, because we know that we still have a lot of evaluating the combine and news to come out on players, but let's take a risk and be deliberate on forcing ourselves to make a choice, which is predicated on the number 1 free agent acquisition that you as coach and Captain Kyle McKenna have value in, which will therefore push you to make a decision with the 11th pick. Or
I
trade
feel
down.
like I'm having a little bit of like implicit bias here, because you do really have a good idea with Conklin. It's a very conservative idea in my opinion. It's like a can't go wrong type of thing. So all right, so I'm going to hedge my bets again here. I'm not going to do what you're asking me to do.
What a sucker! What a
So
sucker!
I mean, so the conservative side, the conservative GM in me says Conklin. The chance taker says Amari Cooper, and that's because I spend. Let me finish before
No,
you.
no,
you
I
react.
don't dislike it. Go ahead,
I don't
go.
dislike it either.
So
Go.
So my thought process with the Amari Cooper is you pay more money to allow yourself to really get creative and play jazz with the draft. Like I had some mocks where I drafted like 3 and 4 O linemen, and they were all quality dudes that could play for you right away. Like you get a Hennessy, the hen dog as we call him in the text chat. You get Hennessy or a Cesar Ruiz from Michigan. I like the center from Ohio State. I can't remember his name, but I remember watching him during the year. And he's somebody that you can get later on.
Yeah.
There's
the center from Wisconsin.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
O linemen out there that you could really like fortify.
Oh,
Well, we seem to have lost Captain Kyle McKenna's transmission. We're going to try and get that back.
and what a face he's making at the
yeah,
point in time.
check
that
out the
he
face it
left.
froze on.
Oh,
He looks like a mouseketeer.
Right.
caption this. Caption this. First of all, just to comment on his take. Interesting direction to take Amari Cooper as your top free agent. I don't dislike that actually, but what I was gonna do is Brandon Scherf would be my number one free agent that I would go
Wow, we
after.
agree on something?
We do agree on that. And
More
what's
qual.
funny is before I continue down that road, when we were doing all of these mocks and stuff, I noticed that the O-line people from a couple years ago are now picking wide receivers in the first round, right?
That's
So-
because we can get an
no,
offensive
but
lineman.
it was just funny. and the guy said we're not
Wah,
going to
wah,
pick
wah.
any more defensive linemen in the first round. It was like I want to go edge,
Right.
right?
I'm sticking. I'm
right.
sticking
He wants to go
that.
Edgar.
I'm,
He wants
I'm
to go Edgar.
so not going D-line.
So it's funny. So here's and now I preface that by saying that the weapons guy, who
The
I'm
weapons
pointing to
guy.
myself right now, right?
Man at arms.
Weapons guy wants to go O line.
Yeah.
So Scherf as your
As
guard.
Free agent? Okay,
Free
right,
agent,
right,
right?
right.
So left guard,
Mhm.
you move Alex Lewis over to right. So I'm with you on that.
Mhm.
My first round draft pick would be Andrew Thomas would be number one that I'd go for.
Okay.
But then Wirfs would be number two.
Mhm.
I really got to look at Willis from Bama.
I heard that he is the best
The best.
pass protector out of all the tackles in the draft.
Okay. All right. So one of those three would
But
probably
continue to do your research though. Yeah.
Yeah. But really, Thomas or Wirfs would be the two people that I would go for. You got a right tackle in Wirfs, right? You got Andrew Thomas at left.
Mhm.
So you can move Beecham over to the right.
So you want to keep Beecham.
So I keep Beecham, right? So I think
same deal that I was talking about, a 3-year or
2
option
year.
after 2.
2 year.
Okay.
Whatever. But I'd keep him
Okay.
either on the left side if you have Wirfs, on
You
the
keep-
right.
You keep beat him?
Yeah, beat him.
His play got better at the like from the middle to the end. But go ahead.
And Pro Football Focus, he graded out pretty well. He didn't give up a lot, but it looked with everybody else going on,
Just
it looked
looked
pretty.
bad.
It looked
Yeah.
bad in
Looked
certain
bad.
instances, right?
You want him to be your anchor?
I prefer Thomas to be my anchor on the left side,
Right.
and you move Beecham over to the right. But
Mhm.
if Wirfs is there, I'd keep him at the left for a year or two, and then have Wirfs on the right side.
Mhm.
He
Right.
was not the weakest link.
He
No,
wasn't.
If
He
we
wasn't.
develop the line to the point where Beecham is the weakest link, I'm happy.
And then you got Scherf now on the left side. So you have a stronger person on the left side. Not that Alex Lewis wasn't strong, but you have a stronger person that is on the left side, and you show up the right side right now, right? With the fact that you have Wirfs maybe over there, right? So let's say Thomas is gone.
But I never want my weakest link to be a tackle on either side.
No, but you're not going to have that be the case.
I'm just
I was
saying,
saying if
there's
you know
never
what I mean?
an if situation scenario where I want a tackle to be my worst lineman.
But I understand that. But let's just say he is surrounded by a bunch of Pro Bowlers and he's the worst one.
He's still out there on an island.
But
He's always going to be on an
hi-
island.
him not being as good as the other Pro Bowlers doesn't make him a bad player. You see what I'm saying? Because now we have, like in my scenario, we have Conklin. We have Alex Lewis. I would love to get somebody like Hennessy, who I happen to love, and I kind of brought it to everyone's attention. He's the best pass blocking center in the draft. I happen to like him a lot, and then we can maybe potentially get another guard. I think this line can really solidify.
I mean,
you know?
and to couple with your point, just to finish out mine, would be I'd go center in the second round. So I double down on the offensive line in free agency and in the draft.
I got to
How
go
would
with
you
a weapon.
address offense?
Huh?
How would you address offensive?
Well, you have
offensive
weapons. You have 2 third-round picks. The wide receiver group this year in the draft is one of the strongest in a long time. Hence the reason why you have Judy and CeeDee Lamb going in the first round. So that bumps all the other talent back further, which means that in third round you should be able to capture a nice wide receiver, maybe even 2.
I want
in that
2.
third round.
Right. I want 2, but
But I think the way I have it established, the whole offensive line is now taken care of. Right now, you have it at A-level talent, first or second rounders, and a free agent, and you have it at center, you have 2 guards, you have 2 tackles, and you're ready to rock and roll. Now we can talk about and do other things with our draft capital, not only this year, right, but in subsequent years. Now you're talking about spending a first-round draft pick next year on a wide receiver or whatever else, whatever the top wide receiver is during that period of time, to be able to give that to him. And you can re-sign Robbie Anderson. Maybe a new one's healthy, but I'm not counting on that.
Nope.
So you draft 2 wide receivers maybe back-to-back in the 3rd round, and that's still enough and high enough in order to find somebody like your man on Tampa Bay, right? I forgot his name. But
the receiver?
Godwin,
Godwin.
right?
Godwin,
That's a 3rd round pick, I believe, right? So you have those people that you can find. You got to cultivate and you develop the talent. But by the time you're done with the 2nd round of this draft, you're done with your offensive line. We don't have to talk about this again. That shouldn't be a problem moving forward.
Well, I think that for getting guards and centers, which we need, we can get that in the 3rd round as well. And we have 2 3rd round picks. I would love, with my game plan, having Conklin. I desperately want one of those weapons, either CD or Jerry Jeudy. And then when we go to the 2nd round, right, that's when we can get like the best interior lineman, whether it be a guard or a center. And then in the 3rd round, the first pick in the 3rd round, getting one of these receivers, since there's a plethora of really good receivers. I would love to see 2 dope receivers, like maybe the kid from Minnesota as well as CD Lamb, or the kid from USC who was a former teammate of Sam Darnold with Jerry Jeudy. Plus, we already got the best center in the in the draft in the 2nd round, and then our 2nd pick in the 3rd round can be an interior guard or something, and everything will be addressed, line and weapons.
Did you guys watch the
Kyle
Super
is
Bowl?
back.
I'm back. I was in the Upside Down. If you're a Stranger Things fan,
No,
I was
he didn't. No,
I was
you
there
didn't.
and I came back.
Bobby Brown.
The Senior Bowl was only on NFL Network, so I didn't get to see it. Was there a receiver that stood out in that game as like somebody who raised their stock?
I didn't see the game, but I heard and read some things. There's a receiver out of Arizona State, a receiver out of Minnesota, and a receiver out of USC. And all of their stocks seem to have just shot up.
The guy from Arizona State was stuck behind N'Keal Harry.
Yes.
The year before, so he didn't really get a lot of playing time until this year. I heard him on Move the Sticks with Bucky Brooks and Daniel Jeremiah, and they were talking about how he had good players behind him in JUCO, and then he went to Arizona State, had N'Keal Harry there. So he's a potential sleeper. The kid from Penn State, who's more of a slot type, he's a potential sleeper. Like the kid from Minnesota that you just said.
Yep.
But my guy, and when we get into like deep draft stuff, my guy that I've been mocking a lot, and I think that we might be able to get him, is Lynn Bowden from Kentucky, who played both receiver and quarterback, and he's a very much like a Antoine Randall Randall Cobb type guy, where he, or even what's his name for the Edelman, where he might have been a Heisman candidate had he played quarterback the entire year. That's how much offense he was able to produce, and he's a good receiver. So I would suggest that you guys take a look at his highlights at some point, because I think he can get got. I'm afraid that Hennessy's stock is going to rise up so high that you're not going to be able to get him in the 2nd round.
I'll put y'all on to him. I'll put him on to y'all. Woo! Hennessy.
I'll allow you to
Lord,
take
I
credit for
really
that.
feel.
I just watched them. It was funny. Arrested Development was on like some award show from like 2017, and my in-laws were watching it today, earlier today.
I'll tell you
I
what.
challenge you to a game of horseshoes.
Every time I hear them, you know what I think of?
Who?
I think of your mother.
Really?
Yes, because she used to play that all the time, and she was trying to encourage us to listen to more of this type of positive music than some of the other stuff that we were
Funny,
listening
sounds
to.
like her.
And I remember she turned it on while we were in your yard playing basketball and opened up the car door, the Dusty Rose Cadillac.
Funny.
Opened up the
Funny.
Dusty Rose
Funny.
Cadillac,
Rose Cadillac.
Wow.
you know, so that she could try to influence us, and was bumping it. And I was like, oh, all right, you
Yeah.
know. And we were shooting around in your driveway and everything. But
Oh my
every
gosh.
time I hear them, I think your mother.
Funny.
Yeah.
Your memory is flawless, bro.
Right.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
But you
You're
remember
like-
that, right?
You're like Rain Man, bro. I don't
You're
remember that at
like-
all.
You're a savant.
Yeah.
You're a savant.
No, I'm an
Take me
idiot.
To another place.
It's like a
Let
black-
me in.
Synonymous, kind of.
So
But yeah.
so to take on the Matt Hennessy, would you draft him in the first round if you traded out of that 11th pick?
We'd have to
If
go
it,
way
if it was
back.
like if it was like 20,
In the 20s,
25,
I might do it.
Do you want to
if
go
I
back
got-
that far? Is the question.
31 and
if
a
you
half.
got two more second round picks this year and then another one in the next year.
Y'all making me think too long. I can't do this.
Yeah.
We got to wrap this
Because
show
that's
up
what
pretty
you can
soon.
get. That's what you can get. That's what you
That's
can
for
get
another
for a
episode.
trade down of
Man.
11. That's the value
Stay
right
tuned
there.
for the hot stove
Yeah, yeah.
episode.
Stay
That's the
tuned.
value right there. I'm
Stay
just saying.
tuned.
We're going to name it the hot stove too, Kyle. That's a great idea. All right. So, guys, we're going to wrap this show up with actual predictions with scores and everything, all righty?
Mm.
Nice and quick. A little, little hot table here. Kyle likes to say hot stove. I love that. That's a hot little thing. You know what? Brian, why don't you go first
Sure.
with your prediction here? Include the score of the Super Bowl. What number is it? Is it 54? Because I can't read these Roman
It's
numerals anymore.
LIV.
I know,
Live.
LIV.
Super Bowl live.
Super Bowl live.
Live your life.
Get life.
Get
son,
a
Yeah,
life.
get life. All right. So Kansas City wins the game, and I would say the final score is 41-38.
Wow. High scoring, huh?
Very high
Bet
score.
the over.
I'm taking the over.
Taking the
Yeah.
over.
41-38.
So San Francisco's not playing any D, huh?
They've been in games before
They're going
during
to
the
give
season.
up 41 points.
They will give up 41 points. Yes.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. That's
yeah.
all,
Oh, absolutely.
But
Listen,
I'm just saying.
There have been games that I've watched them during the year where they've given up a lot of points in certain scenarios, and I think that this is one of those scenarios. They're going to give up a lot of points. They're going to keep it close, but not close enough in order to win at the end of the day. So I say 41-38.
Gotcha.
That means Richard Sherman had a terrible game, and Revis is going to
Revis is gonna be on his.
Light him up. See, I told you he was a faker. Fraud.
Woo! Sigmund Fraud.
Wow.
Yes.
How come we didn't say anything about that all day?
I know,
Oh,
right?
my
We're
gosh.
saying it
I've been
now.
holding that one.
He
I've
played
been
himself,
holding
though.
it. I've
Revis
been
played
holding
himself. He
it.
didn't have to do that. He played himself. Come on, Revis. You know you're gonna be in the Hall of Fame. Relax, bro.
Yeah,
Easy
chill on the
killer.
island, bro. Chill on the
Right.
island, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Caribbean style. Have a patty and
Oh.
cocoa bread and a cola champagne.
Oh, boy.
Lord of mercy.
Lord of mercy.
Hear me now.
Oh,
Who's
my
next? Who's
God.
next? Who's next?
Kyle is next. He's ready. Check him out.
KC 35-28.
35-20. So another
Yep.
pretty high scoring game. So
Sure.
that's
Yep.
wow.
Mm.
Wow.
I'm going to go next.
Sure, go ahead, my man.
I'm going to say the reverse, 35-28.
Tell us what the reverse means for the
San
for the
Francisco.
viewers.
San
Wow,
Francisco
I want to hear you
wins.
say it.
San Francisco,
San Francisco's going to win, you're saying?
35-28.
Wow, 35-28.
And what say you, Brandon?
Brandon. All righty. So I think it's going to be 34 Kansas City and 28 to the San Francisco 49ers. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are basically going to score a bunch of touchdowns. I think they're going to score like, 4 touchdowns, and then they'll be slowed down by being held to 2 field goals, which will bring them to 34. Is my math right?
No.
It's not. Hold on.
I didn't
No.
even add, but it doesn't. I don't
No,
know.
it's not.
Here's my calculator.
Hold on.
And it's blank, people.
So if they
it's
score,
blank.
so it should be 33 then.
You know what? They lose. Oh, dag.
Well, hold on. I'm still sticking with 34-28.
You obviously have some boxes that you
I
purchased
know.
that will not be paid out.
Oh man, my taxes are terrible. You should see them.
Funny.
Nah, but 34-28. I think they're just too much for them. You know.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
Okay, all right.
Hold on a
to the
second.
next subject
yeah,
matter.
yeah.
30? If you score 4 touchdowns, you're scoring 28,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is that a 3-point
And
conversion?
then 3.
Is that a 3-point conversion?
No. If you get a field goal, right? It's 31. I'm right.
Stop explaining yourself.
And then another one is
Easy.
34.
Here's my calculator.
Man, 4 touchdowns
Here's my
and
calculator.
2
Here's my
field
calculator.
goals is 34-20. I'm right.
In the next
having
episode,
second
we will
guesses.
have an abacus just
Yeah.
in case we
I
need to do some additions.
Definitely need an abacus, you know. I need an abacus, but y'all need to be hooked on phonics. All
Carry
right,
the
here we
one,
go. Thanks
carry
for
the one.
watching another episode.
Carry the 1, bring down the 2.
Oh, funny. Thanks for watching another episode of the BKBK podcast. We want to be able to keep bringing you the latest news and viewpoints of where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme.
That's right.
So keep watching. You can find us on Facebook on our BKBK podcast fan page, Twitter on @BKBK podcast, Instagram @BKBK podcast. Hit the like and the subscribe button to show love. Alrighty, that means you can find us on YouTube as well. And I read it out of order, but it's all good. And hit the like and subscribe button. And you can also go to iTunes, alrighty, to download our podcast. You can go to bkbkpodcast.podomatic.com. That's it, guys and girls. Let's go Jets. Let's go Baldwin Bruins. And let's go
Yeah.
Team BKBK. This is a great one, fellas. Woo! Let's do it.